Hey, everybody. Welcome back to the Latched podcast. For those of you who are joining us for the first time, the Latched podcast is a podcast for mothers in the trenches of motherhood, or not in the trenches. I don't know. Today is our 100th episode. Lindi is here with me. Apparently, we're playing some game that Kennedy and Karen showed up with today.
Yep.
We're going to reminisce a bit. Talk about a giveaway. We got all sorts of fun stuff planned.
You're listening to Latched Mama Podcast. I'm your host, Melissa Wirt, busy mom of 6 and owner of LatchedMama.com. Join us each week as we talk about pregnancy, breastfeeding, postpartum, and all things motherhood.
Hi, friend.
Hi.
How are you?
I'm good.
Thanks for being here.
Yeah.
It's Monday once again.
Yep.
We always talk about how we're going to try to get off of the whole podcasting
We are.
on Mondays.
This is the last one, yeah?
There's a lot going on Mondays, and then we sit down
Yeah.
and we have to like be in our feelings and our thoughts a little bit, and it's good though. It's good. So we were just talking about when the podcast started. And we were all laughing because you start to get a little like I get a little shaky and PTSD when I hear about March of 2020.
Yep.
So that is when we started the Latched Mama podcast, which is also when the entire world seemed to change.
Yep. Kids were home.
Yeah, Lindi
Found
and
out
I
they were not going back.
Yeah, Lindi and I had kind of started the pandemic craziness / stress like 6 months prior because China had shut down. So none of our manufacturers and stuff could make us anything. So, and then all of a sudden the pandemic hit and we realized that we couldn't really sell anything and what was going to happen. It was a nightmare. We hadn't seen new product in 8 months at that point, or new styles. And we somehow then had to figure out how to carry a company, and a warehouse through the pandemic, which was probably one of the scariest times of my life.
That was really hard.
It was really, really hard. I don't know why we decided to. I think we had started the podcast like a few weeks ahead of that. And then all of a sudden the world came crashing down, but we kept it going.
Yeah.
We did a lot from the farm.
It introduced us to like daily marketing. I feel like, which we've continued, but it was hard. It's hard and it's heavy and it's a lot.
I remember Lindi showed up. We had just built a room. So I had like a 4-month-old. Catherine was like 4 or 5 months old.
Mm-hmm.
We had built a room on the back of my house that was like a 3 seasons room. So it had like windows that you could open up.
Yeah.
And it had screens. And it was when we didn't know if COVID could kill you. Like, I mean, we knew it could kill you, but we didn't know like if you touched it, if you got it, like if it was on the gas pumps. Like we had no idea at that point. And it was so scary. But Lindi would come over every day. And I think we started on the back deck the first day. And then we were like, this is just not going to work. Like we've got to figure out how to be together, because I needed her and she needed me, and we needed to somehow carry 40 other employees and their families.
We sat out there a lot of days.
Yeah. We ate our weight and ate our stress away with salads and sweet potato fries.
Yep.
But yeah, so then we just kept going with podcasts. We kept finding topics to cover, and I would come into the office and sit at a table that was 6 feet away from other people. And then COVID got really bad and really scary. We moved out to the farm, and then Lindi and I did a whole bunch of podcast episodes out there.
Yeah.
Do you have a favorite?
I actually really enjoyed the kids one we recently did. Like the fighting.
The fighting one?
Just because I can relate like so much to it.
Absolutely. That was one of the ones that I think I laughed harder on. Like I got riled up more than anything else.
I felt a lot on that.
Yeah.
So that one, I mean, the fun ones we've done on like relationships or friendships or like husbands, sex topics. All those have been enjoyable and fun to talk.
I really liked the ones where like we never started off trying to get like deep and connective and stuff. Like, I mean, we knew like when we talked about loss and stuff, we knew that we would get there. But, it's the ones where I know that like I am saying something that if somebody listens to it on the right day at the right moment, that they're going to feel less alone. And that's truly why I do this. I mean, I do this to hang out with you. Yeah. But I mean, we don't monetize the podcast.
No.
So this is 100% just us talking about our lives, really, really hoping that we're somehow finding that community and bringing that village back to motherhood.
And I have a couple of favorite podcast memories from podcasts that were never released.
Like what? Hold on. Like what?
Oh
gosh, I don't even know. I don't even remember.
The one in the barn?
Which one? Oh my gosh! I totally forgot about that one.
Which some of these are just they're just great memories,
okay,
and so some
how much can we talk about that without?
I don't think. I think it just took sex and relationships to a level that.
All right, hold on. Can we talk a little bit about it? Kennedy, we can talk a little bit about it, right? So we had this local, so like we try and find people like within the community to be experts on things for you guys. And then we just kind of threw our hands up in the air and we said, we're just going to talk about our lives, because sometimes with the experts, it kind of goes in different directions. We have some that we will always have in, our pelvic floor therapist. We adore them. Like there are people who will always stay kind of in the rotation. But so I found this local midwife who I didn't know much about her. And it was also very weird because the boundaries were very different, because she was coming to my house. So she's coming to a barn on my property, but it was still like she was in my world and it was fine. And Lindi was sitting at a desk behind her. So picture like the white couches. I don't know if you guys remember,
so I could
like
see
the
your
barn,
face.
the barn setup. So I was sitting on a white couch across like against the wall, and she was sitting across from me. Kennedy was to my right, and then Lindi was behind her, like working, quote unquote. And I knew things were going to be a little weird because she showed up and she was like, "Are you a hugger?" And this was like the middle of the pandemic. It was fine. I mean, whatever she had, I was going to have, because we were sitting in a building together and whatever. So I gave her a hug and she sat down, and I honestly thought we were talking about like midwifery stuff. No, actually she was a midwife turned sex therapist.
Yes.
So maybe I knew that there was a little bit of like sex stuff that was going to come up. And, you know, I mean, I was raised Catholic. Like, we're not crazy. And maybe in our older years, Eric and I will get,
you'll have a,
well, I don't know. But like, it's fine. Like, I own a vibrator. It's fine. But like, we're not like, you know,
like we would.
So anyways,
there's
she
one
starts
word
talking,
that comes to mind.
She starts talking and I realize so quickly that I am 100% out of my element. But then she starts sharing about her life, and it's amazing, and it's so intriguing, and it was so fascinating to me. And this is not said with any sort of judgment at all. It's literally just said with like rug pulled out from underneath me, like I had a new baby, very like, no, I don't want to use the word normal, but just my life is not. Anyways, so she was a dominant of somebody else. And so she started talking about her marriage, which was great. And I love to talk about older people and, you know, their relationships, and I love to learn from them, and it was great, and we were swapping stories. Then all of a sudden she started talking about something that it took me a really long time to actually figure out what she was talking about, and I kept looking at Kennedy, and Kennedy was laughing, and I was like, oh my gosh, she really is talking about this. I thought this was just in movies. And then she talked about how she was dominant over her other partner that would come over and have breakfast with her current partner, and then they would get together, and there were whips and there was chains and there were stuff
it was next level, which was cool. But I think like we're always talking to you think about talking to a brand new postpartum mom, and it was a little scary, I think, if we had released said information. But again, like you said, there was no judgment.
There was absolutely no judgment, but
it was a good
like,
conversation. But it was a little bit, like you said, rug out from underneath you.
I still don't know how. I mean, it took me a few days to get to the point where I could even like talk about what I had heard. I mean, it was so good for me, and it was so great. And Eric and I mean, joked for weeks and weeks after that. But never in my wildest dreams did I ever think that we would sit down with this little, almost frail older woman, and she was just balls to the wall. I think she had MS, And she was just like, this is my life and this is how I want to live it. And it was literally one of the coolest badass things that I have ever heard and I have ever listened to. But I didn't know what was right to say and what was wrong to say. And I was kind of squirming the whole time because it got very intimate. I don't know. Now you guys are going to want me to release the episode, which is kind of funny. And maybe we will one day. But it was.
I'd love to re-listen to it.
I would probably love to re-listen to it too. But it got me really thinking about my relationship with Eric and like what we're on this planet kind of to do and have fun. And, you know, our bodies can do different things. And because I believe, oh, God, I can't even, I'm going to start to sweat thinking about the gross moments.
We'll leave it at that.
I literally had pushed that so far out of my memory.
I'm sorry. It's just so vivid in my mind of sitting at that little white table and periodically looking over at you and really having no idea what to think or say. And Kennedy's at the recording table. Like,
it was
great.
It's really funny that I had probably because I was the one in that moment that had to be respectful and I had to keep the conversation moving and I couldn't squirm too much. Yeah, there might be a little bit of trauma there because I had to be professional as well. Yeah. Speaking of trauma and triggers, I think one of the coolest things that we've kind of explored together on the podcast is, you know, we've talked a lot about the therapy game and we've talked a lot about the fact that I think you had started with your first therapist shortly right before we started, because you guys started right before the pandemic, right?
Yep. It was like May.
Yeah. So Lindy started this little therapy journey and then hers ended and mine kind of overlapped and began. And then she's on therapist number 2. And I don't know. I think being able to, I don't mean that in a bad way. I just.
No, it's fine. It sounds funny, but it's true.
It's true.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think that being able to openly talk about that, I think it's changed the depths of our conversations. I think it's changed a lot of what we've put out there in terms of content. Just having somebody maybe that is opening my eyes to things that maybe I didn't have them open to before. I don't know. It's just interesting. Like you can go back and listen to, there's a podcast episode at the very beginning with Joy and who's an LCSW. And she was talking about, perinatal mental health and stuff like that, and just how fully removed I was from mental health like conversation and stuff then. Like it felt very like distant, not something that I need to work on, not something that I would ever really feel or whatever. And now you talk about it now and I don't know, it's a different depth of ability to have a conversation when you start to think about vulnerability and shame and, you know, the stuff you hold on to from your childhood and kind of some of that stuff that actually keeps us apart as moms when it's actually looked at, you know, face on and you own your imperfections and stuff. How much more connective can we actually be as a community? And how much more of myself can I start to put out there into the community? Because that's only when we kind of build that village back together.
Agreed.
So
I love it.
Did you like that little?
I really love that. I felt very connected and warm.
All right. Speaking of which, should we play our game now?
Yeah.
Okay. This reminds me of the 2 times I've had braces in my life. And because they put those cheek retractors
Played this
in.
a couple months ago with my kids.
But I would love to know, do we know if this game was invented by a dentist or something? Because I feel like this is basically like a cheek retractor that they use in the dentist's office.
Yeah. All right.
I don't know. My mouth is really small. I don't know. Oh, God. Does this go down?
Is this like this?
Oh.
Hit it around.
Only the person that's reading wears it.
Okay.
All right.
Okay.
All right.
Oh, it hurts my lips. I need chopsticks.
Go read your card.
I need chopsticks.
Read your...
I need chopsticks. Oh, it hurt. Is there a smaller one? Oh. She doesn't know what this is. She's like young. Okay. All right,
go.
It's a TV show.
TV show. Okay.
I just say the word.
Just say it.
Age.
Muppet Babies.
Yes.
Yay. All right.
Good job. My mouth is way small. Because it brings me right back to that sex conversation. Oh, God. Oh.
You don't have to keep it in right now.
I want to.
Oh, okay.
No.
Okay. It's like a We are like a musical. Okay. All right, you ready? Yeah.
Mamma Mia.
Yay!
All right.
All right.
All right. What are these things? Who comes out of this stuff?
At least we're not singing.
I
I want my baby back ribs.
Maybe I should wear the bigger one.
All right.
What? Your teeth are gorgeous. They're so straight and clean and beautiful. They're really pretty.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you for that comment.
Like if I was your dentist and I had put a cheek retractor in, I'd be very proud of you right now.
Uh-huh. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, are you ready? My mom's
My mom's.
Brussels sprouts.
My mom's Brussels sprouts.
We're good.
We're so good at this. All right. We are good too.
What does that mean? We have like strong mouths?
What the heck is this? Ready?
Uh-huh.
Seeking haze and taunting eyes.
Again?
Seeking.
Seeking?
Uh.
Puking.
Haze. And
I don't think it's charades.
taunting.
Puking, babies, and vomiting.
Eyes.
Mommies?
Uh-huh.
That's what it says? Wow.
It's terrible.
That's weird. All right.
Yeah.
Are you ready?
Oh my gosh.
Oh my God.
What?
Pamper diapers
Pamper diapers.
full of hoop.
Full of poop. What are these things? What? All right.
All right.
Last
You
one.
want more?
Yeah.
Excuse me.
What? All right. Our hits
Armpits.
feel like a newborn baby auto.
Armpits feel like a newborn baby bottom.
Dude, we don't even. Dude, we're
like
experts at this
experts.
game. Run a company by day and win watch mouth.
All right.
What is it? Watch your mouth.
Ratty
Ratty-
boys
Ratty boys.
pick their hoogers.
Pick their boogers.
Look at us rock this
We
game.
rock this game. We are rocking.
Wow.
Okay, so
All
what do we want to do? Do we want to talk about what the future holds? Do we want to talk about the giveaway? So
I feel like we've hit on some of those
Yeah.
questions already.
So, as far as what we have going on in the future, the podcast has been not an afterthought. It's been just something that we've done kind of to build brand awareness, but really, really double down on that why. That putting content out there that women are not alone in motherhood, that we see you. We try and share our vulnerable moments with you guys too. What's important for us is we want to continue that. We want to keep building that village. So for our 100th episode, we had some adorable podcast mugs made, which we do not have to show you because most of you are listening to this on a podcast and couldn't see them anyways. But those of you who are on YouTube, we don't have them yet because they're not in yet. But we are going to give away a substantial amount of them. But if you guys can hop on the Instagram and tag Latched Mama and talk about our podcast, that would be great. You
In
can
a
throw it
story.
in stories. Yeah, you can throw it in stories. I mean, if you want to do a post on your page, that's awesome too. But put it on your stories, tag us. We will keep track of them for the most part. If you do it and for some reason you don't hear back from us, go ahead and shoot us an email too. We can follow up. This is a new thing for us.
And we'll share those details too.
Yeah,
Yep.
the details are going to be all over social media and help you guys go ahead and share it. We would like to reach more people, spend a little bit of time kind of promoting it a little bit. Because I think it really is good content. I know
Yeah.
it's my content, but I think it's good.
I would have loved content like this. Being
Absolutely.
at home, feeling like I can't get out. I would have loved this.
Yeah. It's interesting though, because I don't know how many like people in our demographic are truly in like the trenches, the head down part of motherhood, even listen to podcasts. podcasts are just, I think, a different thing. I mean, there are a lot of people in our Facebook group that don't even know that they have a podcast app on their phone.
Right.
So it's really, there's a huge education piece, which is actually part of the brand as well. Just educating moms about, their nursing clothes exist and it can look differently.
Yeah.
So, it's really educating, women that, there are ways to feel connected. They might not be the most traditional ways. So we are going to continue to grow the podcast, I feel like, as we have the bandwidth to do it. Continue recording. We would love your ideas. There's a podcast Facebook group. We don't really do a whole lot with it, but we can source ideas from there. Join the Latched Mama Love Facebook group as well. That can help in terms of discuss things. It's where we pull a lot of our ideas from. And just keep showing up for each other and share it as much as you can.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I love
But thank you guys for an amazing 2 years, for listening, for letting us know that you're out there. And I think that we do this for you guys. We also do it because we enjoy talking to each other with mics in front of our mouths. But I feel like if we kept it going during the pandemic and all of the stress and the time there, that we absolutely can keep it going now and keep the content out there for you guys.
Yeah. A huge help is what you want to hear.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll talk about anything.
We kind of add topics to like a master list, and we would love to hear what you want to talk about.
Yeah. And we will bring experts in. So if you guys want to, I know I joked about that earlier, but we will bring people in that absolutely know more than us. It's just a little bit easier sometimes with scheduling to just chat on it ourselves. We can bring resources and stuff like that and keep talking. We don't have all the answers, but I feel like we have a certain level of authenticity and realistic answers that are sometimes easier to hear than the actual experts who tell us what to do all the time.
We recently discussed like an article, and I thought that was a neat approach as well. So if you ever see like articles you want to chat about or anything like that, I think those could be great topics as well.
Thanks, friend, for doing this with me. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
And we will keep coming to you guys weekly. So look for the details about the giveaway, and we will see you guys soon. Thanks.
Bye.